Friday, join Dave Simon along with pro wrestler Johnny.
Yes,
Genesis
indeed.
Norris.
It's Wrestling Uncensored. We are here. We are live tonight on the show. NXT versus Dynamite. Who won the war? Who won that war? Johnny in the house. What up, Big Johnny?
How's it going, Dave?
Doing all right. Hanging in. Having a good time. Watching a little SmackDown on a Friday night. I got Rampage on in front of me. Looking forward to Collision tomorrow night. I feel like I'm the Collision cheerleader now on the show, John. You used to be the main man for Collision, watching the Collision every week.
It was a great show.
CM Punk on Collision. Oh, so much good Punk
FTR.
stuff on Collision. FTR on Collision. Dave, you got to watch Collision. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool, you know, whatever. Sometimes I watch, sometimes I don't. Now Bryan Danielson's the leading man of Collision. I am there every week, baby. Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage for the belt tomorrow night. Yeah, give me that.
It's a good match. It's a good match. However, it's only one match, though. What else do you got for Collision?
I don't know.
Yeah, you have nothing right now. It's all they have so far.
Really?
We'll know later tonight. Yeah, we'll know later tonight because they haven't announced any match. Because remember, it was Tuesday when they had Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
So they had nothing really to announce.
Oh.
So you got to wait until the end of Rampage here.
Cool. Well, that's one reason to watch Rampage. Find out what we have to expect on Collision. I already know what's going to happen on Rampage because I read the spoilers before, so no big deal. I saw what's happening on this Rampage show tonight, and nothing that great.
Well, Jay Lethal's coming out right now. I guess he's going to have a match.
Yeah. I forget who he's wrestling, but it is what it is. Shout out Jimmy James, Alex Tarras, CSL Lauren, Ryan Katz in the chat on YouTube. I see you guys. Ryan is already talking about Tony Khan on Twitter. Tony Khan running wild on Twitter lately. We'll read some of his tweets. Are we still calling it Twitter, John?
You can call it formerly known as Twitter, now X, I guess. I mean, if you go to it, it's twitter.com. It links you to it, so it still is Twitter in a sense.
Does X.com go to Twitter too?
That's a good question. You can try that out yourself.
I don't know what X.com is going to bring me to. Oh, no, it brings me to the Twitter.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. The right X, then.
Yeah, X.com also brings you to Twitter. Interesting. Trent Beretta is the opponent here for Jay Lethal. Up on Rampage on the screen right now. A lot of stuff to get to here tonight, Johnny North. We've got a lot of news coming out of SmackDown. SmackDown has a new general manager, and I think for the first time in SmackDown GM history, he's younger than me. I guess Paige is younger than me. She was SmackDown GM for a while, right?
Yep.
But, like, Brutus Magnus, I forget his real name. What's his wrestling? Nick Aldis. I always think of him. They said Nick Aldis. What?
They said his name is Nick Aldis. Like,
what do you mean?
You said you couldn't remember his name. And they said it, Nick Aldis, on the show. Like, they didn't call him Magnus when he came out.
I know. It's just whenever I see him, I think, oh, that's Brutus Magnus. I don't even think of Magnus, right? At first, he was Brutus Magnus, which was maybe one of the worst wrestling characters I had ever seen. And because it was so bad, even though he's a talented wrestler and a good guy, it seems like, well-liked and respected, for some reason, my mind cannot get over he's Brutus Magnus. You remember that Brutus Magnus? He had that, like, Roman gladiator helmet thing. They called him Brutus Magnus. They tried to make him seem like he was from ancient times. It was a really bad TNA gimmick that didn't work at all. And then eventually they just dropped the Brutus and they changed his name to Magnus, and he was more of like a real wrestling character. And then he was Nick Aldis in the NWA, and he did very well for himself. And he actually wrestled Cody at the first All In back in 2018. And there he was on SmackDown separating Cody from Roman Reigns as the new SmackDown general manager, Nick Aldis. And as Ryan Katz points out in the chat, yes, he is also married to the legendary Mickie James. And I wrote on X earlier tonight saying, I'm surprised WWE didn't bring him in as Nicky James. Not Nick Aldis, but maybe Nick James. When they brought in Mike Bennett with his wife Maria, because Maria was more well-known to the WWE universe, they called him Mike Kanellis. Took his wife's last name. So Mickie James, far more known to the WWE universe than Nick Aldis. He's lucky he wasn't called Nick James or even Nicky James. But he comes in as a new SmackDown general manager tonight. Hard to tell what kind of impact he's going to make. Although, right off the bat, seeing him get in between Cody and Roman was interesting because he seemed bigger than both guys. He is huge, Nick Aldis.
I met him once. Yeah, he's pretty big. He's pretty tall.
Ginormous. He's wide, too.
Yep.
They're going to let him wrestle?
I mean, they should. I mean, he can still wrestle, so why not? Like, I think he should, but for whatever reason, they're just going to have him do this instead. Like, I think his promo skills are okay, but his wrestling skills are probably even better than just him talking. But this is what they want. This is what they get. Just want NWA former champions to be their GMs, I guess.
Yeah, and Adam Pearce was a former NWA champion too, right?
Right. So it seems to be the format now.
I guess. But Pearce is kind of retired, you know? Nick Aldis is 36 years old. He's a young man. He's in great shape. Unless he's got some sort of career-ending injury that I don't know about, I don't understand why they're just using him as the general manager of SmackDown when, like you said, not a great talker, more of a wrestler. And you would think they'd use him in the ring. I don't really understand the move of bringing Nick Aldis in. I don't understand the way they brought him in. It was really uneventful and strange. Triple H is in the ring cutting a promo. He starts praising Adam Pearce for doing a great job running the shows for the past 3 years. And he says, you're not going to be alone anymore. You're not going to be alone anymore. Oh, sorry. I forgot I was doing Triple H. I have to do the impression, right? You're not going to be alone, Adam Pearce. We have a new general manager for you of SmackDown. You're the general manager of Raw, by the way. And the new general manager of SmackDown is... and it was Dominic Mysterio, but he's not the general manager. He's just, you know?
Yeah, this was beyond weird. This made no sense in a lot of ways. First, it starts off with Triple H, your buddy, comes out and says, like, Pierce, like, you've done a great job for the last 3 years. Now you're going to get help. And now you're only going to do Raw, by the way. Like, you're doing such a great job. You only have to do Raw. You're not going to do Raw and SmackDown.
You're so good at this that we're going to cut your job in half and bring somebody new with no experience at all to run our A show.
And call it a promotion.
Yeah.
I'm like, this makes no sense.
No.
Then Dominic Mysterio from Raw, Judgment Day doesn't have the tag titles anymore. So you can't give me that crap about how, like, oh, they can go to any show, whatever. No tag team titles anymore. So just randomly Dominic shows up.
Solo
because,
Dom.
Yeah, well, I think they needed someone with a lot of heat to help build up their new GM. Because clearly no one knew who all this was. So that's why they did that. But really, I thought Dominic was better to help with Kevin coming out later.
Well, I think that's really what he was there for, to take a stunner from Kevin Owens. They wanted a heel out there, a heel jabroni that could just take a stunner, and it wouldn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Dominic Mysterio comes out.
There's nobody on the SmackDown brand that could have done that? I think Grayson Waller could have done that.
Busy.
I mean, yeah, he's got a match later, but I mean, he can recover from a stunner. Everyone else does.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. But they had Dominic Mysterio out there for some reason. And, I mean, you're talking about the things that don't make sense. Why is Dominic Mysterio mad? Dominic Mysterio's mad because he says that his boys, Damian and Finn, lost the tag team titles at Fastlane, and they got a rematch on Monday against Cody and Jay. So he doesn't want Cody and Jay defending the tag titles tonight because they're already involved in a tag title defense Monday. Well, what if they get hurt tonight in their match? Then you just win the tag titles Monday. They're softened up. Or how about this, Dominic Mysterio? Wouldn't you want to help Grayson Waller and Austin Theory beat Cody and Jay because you hate Cody and Jay? They're your enemies. You want to see them lose. And also Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are an easier target than Cody and Jay. But no, Dominic's just mad that Cody and Jay have to wrestle while Finn and Damian are resting. Like, it makes absolutely no sense why Dominic comes out and is mad about the tag title defense, but he was. Triple H didn't understand what he was complaining about either, and he also had to make the joke, oh, I thought they were always piping in those boos. Like, they.
That's terrible.
You mean you?
You're
talking about
yourself.
Yeah. But it's like, I guess it's a joke because people think that some of those boos are piped in because they're so loud when Dominic talks, but it was just a lame joke. You know, it just came off as like, you know, can you believe I'm wearing a suit? You know, like that type of thing. Lame Triple H kind of humor that he does.
Lame Triple H. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was not cool. And then Triple H goes, SmackDown has a new general manager, and it's, Dominic, if you got a problem, complain to this guy. Here's Nick Aldis. And then Nick Aldis comes from, I guess, near commentary. He doesn't come down the ramp. He doesn't have music. He doesn't have anything. He comes out from nowhere, comes in the ring. The crowd is like, is he like who is he? The crowd has no idea who he is. I think they thought maybe he was a guy from the commentary desk. Like, they're like, is that Michael Cole coming in the ring? He's just a guy coming from that area wearing a suit. The crowd doesn't react at all. When they go, hey, it's Nick Aldis, the crowd goes, who? No one knew who he was. Even Dominic Mysterio was like, what's your name, Nick? What's your name, Nick? You got to focus on me, buddy. I don't know what your problem is here with a new superstar that SmackDown's bringing in, but that doesn't really matter. I'm focused on the tag team titles and my boys in Judgment Day, whatever your name is. They brought him in with zero fanfare, got no reaction for him because no one knows who he is. Adam Pearce is a bigger star in the WWE than Nick Aldis right now. I'm baffled by this. I really don't understand what the idea is behind putting Nick Aldis as the GM. If this is his launching pad for a WWE wrestling career, it's a pretty weak way to debut. Not great.
I mean, when you think about it, Kurt Angle did that where he was GM, then he wrestled.
Yeah, but
people
knew who he was.
History.
Like,
exactly.
He was already retired at that point. Like, he'd been gone. Kurt Angle didn't debut in his first match in WWE as like the Raw general manager, and then they're like, oh, here's this guy, Who has ever debuted as a wrestler, as a GM type character, and gone on to success?
Well, I was going to say Brad Maddox, but that wasn't really successful.
No. Brad Maddox is famous for what? What's Brad Maddox actually famous for?
Something
Not
else.
wrestling.
There's a video online.
No, yeah.
Somewhere.
Him with a wrestler or two, but not doing wrestling moves, doing other types of moves.
Holds, yes.
Sex moves.
Different holds.
Yeah.
Spicy stuff.
All right. Let's not talk about Brad
Maddox's
penis any more than we have to, John. Okay. But the point is, it doesn't work. It's not how it works. I don't know what they're trying to do with Nick Aldis here, but it's weird. And then Nick Aldis goes, here's the new member of SmackDown, Kevin Owens. And then Kevin Owens comes out and hits a stunner on Dominic Mysterio. And then Kevin Owens, being the cool babyface that he is, shakes hands with all the guys in suits. Triple H, Adam Pearce, Brutus Magnus. He's like shaking their hand. Corporate KO right there, Stone Cold would have done that for sure, right? Stone Cold loved guys in suits. He wouldn't have stunned them. How about Owen stuns, Brutus Magnus too? How about that?
Yeah, Kevin's not that kind of character, though.
Yeah, it's lame, man. It's really lame when he comes out and he stuns poor old Dominic, and then he's like shaking the guys in suits' hands. Hey, guys, thank you. He doesn't look cool doing that.
No, well, but his thing is that he looks up to these people, though. He does the crotch chop all the time.
He looks up to Brutus Magnus and Adam Pearce?
I guess. He talked about they have a history, him and Pearce, though.
Brutus Magnus?
They've wrestled each other quite.
Brutus Magnus.
I don't know if he's wrestled all this, though. But I think the whole thing is that Kevin is a good guy, and he's trying to put that over. It's the whole handshake stuff.
I don't think Brutus Magnus would have a gigantic career in WWE, but I think that he could be more than a GM. I think he could wrestle and do some 100%. Things. If they have him under contract, I don't get it. I don't get this move with him. Because him as GM doesn't do much. Like, he's not... I always like a former superstar that we know and sometimes even love as a GM. Not a guy that's wrestled in NWA and in TNA, and now we're introducing him as a brand new character here as the GM of SmackDown. I don't think he sets the world on fire. He's not going to be the guy that beats Roman Reigns, but at 36 years old, looking as gigantic as he does, knowing that he's got the skills to wrestle, I feel like there's more to him than that.
Well, I think you can also look in the sense that Jerry Lawler came into WWF and they just said, oh, the king, big legend, all this, but he wrestled, but just to come in commentary and replace Bobby Heenan at the time, that was a big ask. But he did it, though, and arguably was the best of all time doing it. So, it's not impossible to come in out of nowhere like that.
I guess. Jerry was pretty well known.
Yeah, but if you didn't know about him before, I think if you're just a WWF fan at the time, when I was a kid, I didn't know about him. I don't know about you.
I didn't know who he was. You're right.
He upset Brett, so it's damn you, Lawler.
I liked him right off the bat because he was just as funny as Bobby the Brain, though. I remember that. Well, I remember when Jerry Lawler came in, when the King came in, I was like, Bobby, I remember that promo when Bobby brought him in. It was like, this is Jerry, and he's going to be the new guy here. And it was like, all right. And then Jerry started talking, and I was like, yeah, this is great. I don't know. He just came in, and he fit.
Well, I didn't like him insulting Brett's family at the time.
I did. I thought it was very funny.
Well, I didn't think it was funny.
So funny.
Stu didn't deserve that.
I think he liked it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think they're all in on it.
Yeah, it's all fun.
As a kid, though, it's real.
As a kid, I just thought he was very funny. I was like, that's a great joke. Good job. I thought it was funny. I knew Brett had to get his revenge, but I still appreciated Jerry the King for doing his thing. He was fun.
We did get the Kiss My Foot match, but it took a while.
Yeah. Ryan Katz says, wasn't he in the British invasion in TNA? I think he was, right? Brutus Magnus?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Angelo in the chat. What's up, Angelo?
Doug Williams, I think, was his tag partner, no?
Yeah. That sounds about right. Brutus Magnus, new SmackDown GM. And now Kevin Owens is a new member of the SmackDown roster. So I was saying last week this was not going to happen. I'm glad that they proved me wrong here. This is good. Good for WWE. I was like, they're going to forget about this trade thing because they haven't said anything about it for weeks. And then all of a sudden they bring it back. They're like, hey, Jey Uso, he got traded to Raw, kind of, even though he quit SmackDown. I don't think it was a trade, but whatever. Cody said, he brought Jey Uso to Raw and SmackDown will get someone back. I don't know how Cody was able to do that, but he was. And
Cody's the GM of NXT now, by the way.
permanent? Or
no, not permanent, but apparently
just one night.
Last week, and apparently next week too, or something.
Well, he booked matches for the following week, I think. Right? Wild GM. Okay. So Sami Zayn has now lost his tag team partner and the tag team titles. And it's all because of Cody. Cody's got the tag belts. Cody brought Jay. And, Sami's got a complicated past with Jey Uso. And now because Jey Uso is on Raw, Sami Zayn has lost Kevin Owens over to SmackDown. So I think they've got a lot of meat on the bone with the Sami Zayn storyline here with Jay and Cody going forward on Raw. I think they've got a lot of good stuff that they could do, a lot of good stories that they could tell, a lot of matches to have. And I hope that they go in that direction pretty well. And I would say I trust them to do it, but I don't really. But I hope to see them do it. And as for Kevin Owens on SmackDown, I think that there's a limit. I don't really understand the move for Kevin Owens. I think for Sami on Raw, it provides a lot of wrinkles to his story. For Kevin Owens on SmackDown, he comes into a locker room where LA Knight is a very hot babyface. Roman Reigns is the top heel. And he's been up against Roman quite a few times and not won. And it would be really surprising and hard to believe Kevin as the one to beat Roman. And even a Kevin-Roman feud revisited now is just not that appealing because I don't believe it. I have a better time believing LA Knight could beat Roman. I have a better time believing Cody Rhodes would beat Roman. I don't believe that the WWE is going to have Kevin Owens be the one to beat Roman Reigns. So I wonder what place Kevin really has on SmackDown. So he stunned Dominic Mysterio. Okay, Dominic Mysterio's on Raw. Who's on SmackDown for him to feud with other than the Bloodline? Grayson Waller? Austin Theory? I mean, there's
Bobby
a
Lashley.
limit to what he can really do on SmackDown. There's that Roman Reigns glass ceiling. Where on Raw, you got the World Heavyweight Championship. Sami could win the World Heavyweight Championship. There's more to do, I think, for Sami. I think the move of Kevin to SmackDown opens up more avenues for Sami than it does for Kevin. Because I really, I don't know what they're going to do with Kevin now on SmackDown. Other than be backup for LA Knight when John Cena's not around anymore. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I see a lot of...
Yeah?
Honestly, I see a lot of positions for Kevin here. If anything, that, like you said, they need a number 2 babyface on SmackDown. Kevin immediately takes that role. LA Knight's the first one, then it's Kevin, number 2. And there's a lot of people for him to feud with. Like you said, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, Bobby Lashley, Killer Cross, and of course the Bloodline. Maybe not Roman, but still could feud with Solo and Jimmy. I think there's a lot for Kevin to do, and he's a character you kind of need on SmackDown. You need another strong character on the babyface side. They didn't have that; it was lacking. Kevin gives you that, and star power too.
Yeah. None of those matches you mentioned. Kevin and Bobby?
Yeah, I'd love to see that. That'd be good.
I don't need that. I don't need that at all.
I'd love to see what, one day, a Kevin versus Carlito match. What would that be like? But we got to see Carlito wrestle first because he didn't get to wrestle yet.
Yeah. Kevin and Carlito could be interesting, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't see a lot of meat there for Kevin Owens on SmackDown. We'll see. He's a great performer, so hopefully he can make it work. We'll see. But he's over on SmackDown now. Nick Aldis is the new general manager of SmackDown now. Interesting stuff. What What else is happening? How about that NXT Dynamite show? Let's talk about that a little bit before we dive into SmackDown a little bit more with LA Knight and Solo Sikoa and all that Roman Reigns stuff. I want to talk about Roman Reigns, his return to SmackDown, and what we think he might be doing at Crown Jewel. And also, like, what's the deal with Jimmy? But as far as NXT went with Dynamite Tuesday night, NXT won the ratings war, if you want to call it that. It was a one-night battle. NXT did win. They got a higher rating. Not a great rating, though.
Well, I would say it was great considering they don't get that kind of rating.
For NXT.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For NXT, it was pretty good. They beat Dynamite by about 300,000 viewers. NXT pulled in 921,000. Dynamite pulled in 609,000 in the United States, according to the Nielsen ratings. So NXT did beat Dynamite on a Tuesday night, which is pretty good for NXT. But they had Cody, Asuka, John Cena, and The Undertaker.
And Kevin was on the show too, I think.
Kevin Owens. I mean, they had everybody, right? They jam-packed that NXT. They're not going to do that every week. They can't do that every week. Undertaker's not going to be on NXT every week.
Right, obviously, yeah.
But
it was a special moment.
I think AEW delivered a better TV show. I think they delivered a better wrestling program. I was looking at the wrestling, I was watching the matches, and I feel like AEW on Tuesday night did a better show. I don't care what the ratings say. I really don't. It doesn't affect me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so 300,000 more people watched the WWE show that night. All right. Undertaker's a draw. No shit. But as far as what I saw and what I enjoyed Dynamite way more because I don't think WWE, even though it was their developmental show, did a lot to develop their future. You've got Undertaker coming out there, grabbing Braun Breaker by the throat, choke slamming him, telling him, "You're bad, kid, but I'm the baddest in the yard." You know, it's like, what? What is the message? The message is Braun Breaker is all right, but Undertaker, super old, retired, and beat up, could squash him like a bug. So what does Braun Breaker really mean? How does that help Braun Breaker? Everybody's like, ooh, Braun Breaker got to be in the ring with The Undertaker. He didn't kick Undertaker's ass, though, did he? Took a choke slam and got told, "I'm the baddest, you're not that bad." Okay. Good for you, Braun Breaker. John Cena raised that other guy's hand, Carmelo, whatever his name is. What's his name?
Hayes.
Yeah. Great. Does that make you want to watch Carmelo Hayes next week and see what adventures he's up to? I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, NXT, they're building for the future. They're doing this, they're doing that." No, they're not. They're bringing out semi-retired wrestlers to prop up a show that no one wants to watch. I don't get it. Undertaker's not going to be on NXT next week. NXT won't matter next week. Dynamite is still rolling with good matches and top wrestlers. They got Edge. They got Bryan Danielson. And these guys are wrestling good matches every week. And they're building for the future with guys like Swerve, guys like Jay White, guys like MJF, guys like Hangman. If you look at Roman Reigns right now, top guy in the business, who's next? Who's the next top guy in the business? In 5 years, when Roman's in his early to mid 40s, and he's starting to sail away from wrestling. When Roman Reigns is 45 years old, which is, 7, 8 years from now, it's not that far away from Roman being John Cena status, John Cena level, John Cena availability. So I'd say 3 to 6 years when Roman is done being full-timer. Who's taking over? Who holds the crown? Who's the top wrestler of the future? Who do you see in the business today that has a shot at being that guy? Who stands out?
Oh, in the business? I mean MJF, with no question.
Exactly. And that's exactly that's my point, John. There's one guy who stands out head and shoulders above everybody else, and that's Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and he's in AEW. So they could do all the NXT stuff they want, and they could try to hype up and whatever, but if I look at the next 3 to 6 years of professional wrestling, I think AEW has set themselves up way better than the WWE right now, depending on, contracts and who they could steal and all that stuff. WWE can purge a roster like nobody's business. They've built their business on doing that for over 50 years as a sports entertainment leader, right? But I look at what NXT delivered, and quite frankly, the only young talent that stands out as a potential WrestleMania main eventer is Tiffany Stratton.
Not Braun, really.
No. There's something missing. There's something missing.
He's a future world champion, I think.
I think he might be, but Braun, like when he first came out, I was like, yep, this guy for sure. But the more I've seen, the more I think, he's not caught up to where I thought he would be at this stage in the game. The promos are not there. The promos are they're just not there. He's got a little bit of his uncle, a little bit of his dad, but neither of those guys were ever great promo guys. Scott Steiner was a great promo guy because he was absolutely ridiculous, unhinged, and you never knew what the hell he was going to say. But that doesn't work in WWE. That works in TNA and WCW when you're allowed to go out there on a live microphone and say whatever the hell you want, Big Papa Pump. But Braun Breaker doesn't have that same luxury. He doesn't have Eric Bischoff or Dixie Carter or the lack of oversight that you get when you're outside of the WWE structure. So Braun Breaker's not going to be able to go ham like Scott Steiner. He doesn't get to go bananas like Uncle Scotty. Braun Breaker has to promo within the lines. Right. And his promo within the lines is mid at best. At best.
I won't disagree with that. Sure.
Garbage,
but
in reality, right? And size-wise,
of course,
he's not that big. He's not that big.
He's not bad.
Yeah,
but he has a great
when you work that style, you got to be a little bigger. When you're Scott Steiner's nephew, people expect you to be a little bit bigger. He's not that big, and when stood up to some of the true monsters on the roster, he's going to look kind of middle-ish, So I think that there's a lot missing with him. He doesn't have that imposing presence against real imposing guys. He has an imposing presence against the 5'9" NXT talent, Carmelo Hayes or whatever the hell you have. He looks imposing next to the cruiserweights they have in NXT. Put him next to Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns or Braun Strowman, I don't think it's going to work. He's not going to look that impressive. He's not going to be able to hit a lot of his suplexes. There's a reason why he's not been called up to the main roster.
Boy,
they thought about it. They never did it. They thought about it. They never pulled the trigger. Why? Because he's not ready. And at this point that he's still not ready, I don't know if he'll ever be ready for the main top spot that we expected him to be. He might be. I hope he is. But he's not there yet. Who said it? Tiffany Stratton has the it factor. That's what Lior said. Shout out Lior. Yep. Yep.
I think there's potential, but like she is very much like Braun too. I don't think she's ready yet either.
Yeah, but size-wise, she measures up with the top talent better than Braun does, I think. And promo-wise, charisma-wise, I think Braun is going to be a star in WWE, but I don't think he's going to be the guy to take the ball from Roman Reigns. I don't see anybody to do that. Quite frankly, I think when Roman Reigns' time is done, I think the WWE would be better suited to focus on women's wrestling and put the men kind of in the background because they don't have the male talent compared to what they have on the women's side. They could focus way more on the women. I know sometimes it's, a 7-match card with 2 women's matches on it, and I think we're going to start seeing, 7-match card with maybe 4 women's matches and 3 men's matches in the future. You got people like Becky Lynch and Bayley and Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. You've got some megastars in the WWE women's division. And in men's side, I don't know. They've got some stars, but in the future, I think the future for the WWE is brighter with women's wrestling. They've done that so well, and they've set themselves up for an amazing women's division. They have one. They have the currently best women's division in the history of professional wrestling. And I think it's just getting better. I think that developmental has done really well. The men's side, how many people have they actually made into stars? Look at Gable Steveson and that failed experiment.
I won't disagree with you on, creating more women stars over male stars, but I can't possibly see how we're ever going to have a show where there's more women matches than men matches. I feel like there's too many male talents out there that they currently have or could possibly get at any moment. There's just too many.
Yeah, a lot of them I don't want to watch though.
But they can bring a higher level of intensity than a lot of the women matches. Even the best women matches can't reach that level of intensity.
We'll see what the future holds, John, but I think we're going to see more parity as far as women's wrestling and men's wrestling in WWE. It's not going to be, here's 1 or 2 women's matches on an all-male card. I think it's going to be more 50-50, at least. Maybe not women more than men, but I think it's going to be closer to 50-50. If you look at the talent, you look at the division, you look at the money that they have to be investing in these talents, there's no reason not to focus more on them. You think Charlotte Flair's cheap? As far as her contract, you know what I mean? Keeping Becky Lynch, these people are making money. These people are making big money.
Right.
Jade Cargill, bringing her over to WWE, they're paying her. So, I think they have a lot invested in the division. And if you look at it, the stars in that division, ridiculous. Ridiculous.
You say that, but the last few premium live events, there was 1 women's match a show? SummerSlam had 2 when we said there should have been 4?
Yeah.
You could say they're star power, but they're not using them.
I know. I'm not saying they're using them. I'm saying that they're there, and I think they're ready to be used. And I wonder about the future of the WWE. I wonder after Roman, who's the next guy? It's not LA Knight. LA Knight's 40 years old. It might be Cody Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes is the same age as Roman. Who takes the ball when Roman is done? You would expect it to be a younger guy. And the only younger guy they have working on that main roster is Austin Theory. It might be him, but I don't know. He's huge.
I think
he's ginormous, that guy. So jacked.
He gets better. He gets better every year. People can say oh, he's boring, whatever, but he's improving. If you look at him, remember when he first started, WrestleMania 35?
Yeah.
To now, it's dramatic difference.
I remember when he first started, when he was with like Zelina Vega and Andrade and that whole crew.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he was not good back then. He's much better now.
Well, he was like, felt like he just started wrestling.
Yeah.
And now,
yeah,
like, so much more polished.
Yeah. Still not a guy that I really care to watch, though.
No, but you could see slowly climbing the ranks kind of thing, like it makes sense where he's at.
Yep. Yeah. He's had things given to him. He's done, he had a U.S. title run. He beat John Cena at WrestleMania. He's had some stuff. But right now, he's kind of in a spot that makes sense. A tag team with Grayson Waller. He's kind of been relegated a little bit back down, right, from that long U.S. title run. He lost to Cody and Jey Uso, their first tag team title defense tonight on SmackDown. Which, was what it was.
It was an all right match. Wasn't the best, but it was all right. I'm just not a fan of the whole, like, you get your tag finish, and then Cody has to go hit his finish at the end. Like, the tag finish, like they did on Raw, that was fine. Just hit the tag finish. But at Fastlane 2, you have to hit the tag finish, and then, Cody has to have his moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it tag team wrestling, or is it Cody Rhodes wrestling here?
A little bit of both, I think. It was weird where they hit their finish on Raw, their tag finish, and that was enough to win against Kevin and Sammy. But it wasn't good enough to beat Grayson and Theory.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. But again, tag team wrestling, but they're more about moments. So it kind of gets lost, sadly.
Yeah.
Talk about bad moments. That opening tag match. I know you love those guys, but that was awful.
Oh, no, it was very bad. Pretty Deadly. I'm starting to not love them as much. I thought they were kind of funny at first, but they're getting less funny because the shtick hasn't changed. It's just the same. And that match was so bad. What the hell was that spot where Deadly was like falling off the apron and Pretty like pulled him up? What the hell was that? What was that even? It's horrible.
It was just lame.
And at one point, Deadly's got Butch on the apron, right? Butch had to tell him to roll out to the apron because Deadly or Pretty, they don't know how to wrestle. They're garbage. So green, so terrible. So Deadly Butch gets Deadly out on the apron and he tells him, backdrop me. This guy, he doesn't do a backdrop right. He when you backdrop a guy when you're like down, you're just supposed to lift and kind of boom. But he like deadlifted him up and then flung him from a full vertical down on the on the apron there. I was like, what kind of backdrop is that to do to a guy on the apron? Like, that was so unnecessary. And I was like, you're green as shit. Like, that was horrible. Just that alone, I was like, yo, that was not how you do that. That's not how you do the backdrop on the apron. And he was obviously told, backdrop me, and he didn't know what the hell he was doing. I could have given Butch a safer backdrop than that. It was dangerous. You could have killed the guy doing that. It was crazy.
Well, the thing is, they, for the most part, plan out all their matches. So I think that was actually the plan, was that. So it's more of whoever planned that is out of their minds. But again, whoever approved this is out of their minds, because that finish was atrocious. That finish should never air. The fact that they aired that just made WWE look so bad. Made everyone in that segment look so bad.
So Pretty, who's been injured, he fakes a knee injury. He's acting like he's really hurt. They kind of stop the match. The referee checks on him, tells Ridge to back off. So he does. And then behind the ref's back, Deadly kicks Ridge in the head, and then Pretty pins him, and they win. Pretty Deadly. I don't know if they have names. I think they do have names. I call the brown-haired guy Deadly and the other guy, the blonde-haired guy, Pretty.
Well, the blonde guy's Elton and the other guy's Kit.
No, he's Pretty.
So,
and the other one's Deadly.
However you slice it, yes.
Listen, I call everybody however the hell I want. Brutus Magnus is the new GM of SmackDown. These guys are called Pretty and Deadly. Edge wrestles in AEW. Okay? Don't mess with me, John.
Okay. I'll try to cope with that.
They didn't change Carlito's name, did they? He's still Carlito?
I think he's still Carlito. Not Caribbean Cool Carlito, but Carlito. No.
Is he still a body guy?
Well, he was flexing a lot, it felt like.
Yeah.
Because he's just holding the apple. He didn't get to spit the apple, though. That was what I was wishing for. He didn't do it, though. Damn it. I really wanted Kayla to get the apple in the face, but nope. I don't know if we're going to ever get that, sadly.
I like Bobby Lashley and Carlito doing a little backstage segment there, and Bobby Lashley going, "Oh, last time I saw you, I was beating you up on SmackDown." And I'm like, didn't you guys work the indies together? Like, weren't you guys traveling together with our boy Jeremy, like, for a while? Wasn't that a thing?
Yeah, they were, actually. I feel on the same show.
Stop lying, Bobby. I know the truth. You've seen Carlito more recently than SmackDown, back in, like, 2006.
Yeah, but that's a line fed to him, obviously.
Yeah,
and, WWE people are like, well, whatever doesn't happen to WWE doesn't exist. So
yes,
that's why that was made.
But my point is, John, is that Carlito working his first program back with Bobby Lashley, I think is no surprise because they're buddies. Like, they're real-life buddies. They work the indies together. They traveled together. They're friends in real life.
I'm surprised it's the first match, though. I mean, like, to me, that was like, wow, it's a big match right away for Carlito. You think they'd give him something to warm him up a little bit before he'd have a big match with Lashley. But nope, right away, big match with Lashley's going to happen. First match, apparently.
Well, he won in the 6-man with the LWO against Bobby and the Profits, so...
Yeah,
what's
that
next?
Was
they already had that
ridiculous.
match. Like, you would think the 6-man would be first, but they already did that. So where do you go from there? You kind of got to do Carlito Bobby.
I would have given him one of the Profits to wrestle first, Carlito, right? Like, let him beat Dawkins or Ford.
He probably will.
Then, well, it seems like it's going right to Lashley right away. But whatever, it's fine. I mean, that's a better match probably in the end.
Yeah. I think they might even do it at the Crown Jewel, which is soon.
Maybe earlier. I could see it be on SmackDown because, as we saw with Fastlane, they're not big on having a lot of matches on their premium live events anymore.
Which is not a terrible thing.
Right.
But as far as NXT versus Dynamite here this week, like, okay, Dynamite, they lost the rating, but like, what did you think about the quality? I know you didn't get to catch all of NXT, but as far as what you saw, I feel like WWE was just kind of hot-shotting a lot of things, They throw John Cena on there. They throw Undertaker on there, but that's not lasting. That's not a thing that you could look forward to on NXT every week, whereas when AEW main events a show with Edge, it's like, yeah, we got Edge. This is his first match in AEW, and he's going to keep wrestling here. You'll see him next week and the week after and the week after that. NXT, I don't think, did a great job of showcasing their homegrown talent to make you want to watch those guys. I don't want to watch Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, or Tiffany Stratton any more now than I did, last week, or Roxanne Perez, or whoever the hell. Like, it's not drawn my attention to those people anymore. It just drew my attention to that NXT show, not because they were wrestling, but because Undertaker and John Cena were appearing. Because a lot of wrestling fans will tune into a show that advertises John Cena and The Undertaker. You could have Stone Cold, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair on a wrestling show. It'll draw a rating. But if you don't have them every week, what have you really proven? Like, if you're the WWE, sure, book all your stars. You have legends at your disposal. You have billions of dollars. Go for it. Book them as many times as you want, but there's a limit to what that's going to do for you. AEW can't do what the WWE can do, but I think what they do is, pro wrestling. And with pro wrestlers that you want to watch. Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, Hangman Page, Swerve Strickland, Adam Copeland, Chris Jericho, MJF, Jay White, Tony Storm, Ray Phoenix, Orange Cassidy. Like, they've got wrestling. NXT's got stars one night.
Now, I would love to compare which show was better, but my Sportsnet Plus sucks, so I didn't get to watch all of NXT. So that was a bummer. But when it goes to the ratings, like, I'm not surprised whatsoever that NXT won, because NXT is on Tuesdays every week. So they have already their set audience scheduled for that time slot.
Good point.
Where Dynamite was not. And the fact that they got as many viewers as they got against a show that's on there every week, that's pretty impressive, actually. The fact that so many people watch that much wrestling in that 2-hour time slot is really impressive. And I think they should actually be happy about it. I know Tony Khan was upset, but I think that's a kind of a victory in a sense. If you can get that kind of rating against that kind of competition on a night that you're not usually on, that's pretty good, because like they're usually doing what, like 800, and they did like 600 on off night. That's really good. I mean, Collision can't get those kind of ratings, so that's not bad. However, NXT, it just goes to show you, I think they're trying to help sell that show, because the contract's up, right, for NXT and Raw.
Right.
So I think they're trying to help sell the show to potential other networks, to show that this is what we can do against competitions. So put us up whatever night, and we can do this well. Now, obviously, they can't bring out the top guns all the time, but this is just, they can say, like, we did this. I feel like that's what it was done for.
Yeah, I think that there's a part of that for sure. It was done to sell NXT, and yeah. But if you're a potential buyer of the TV show, don't you recognize that, like, hey, this was an anomaly of a rating because you had The Undertaker? You're not going to give us Undertaker every week.
But if we ask, maybe you can do it sometimes. You know, it can happen. You know, it's a possibility. They have that power. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, when they have that, they can get that kind of rating. Again, maybe not the greatest rating, but still, like, if you look at compared to what they usually draw, it's an amazing rating. And with competition at the same time.
And here is Tony Khan responding to the rating. Oh, I thought I had it there.
It's just us again.
Why is that not? That's happening again. We didn't get that fixed. Oh, we got that fixed.
At least we're not.
We get that button fixed. We need to fix that button.
Buttons. I can see it now.
God damn. This week, 2 active, decades-long rating streaks from 2 great legends were ended. With all due respect, until this week's head-to-head, AEW on TBS versus WWE on USA, neither John Cena nor Undertaker had ever been on a WWE show with under 1 million total viewers and under 400K in the demo. Wow. Worst rating for Cena and Undertaker ever.
Just a little stat, because I noticed it and I thought it was kind of funny, is that the only point I think Dynamite beat NXT was when Chris Jericho was on. So I thought, Demo God, thought that was kind of funny. And also, if you remember, I saw the Jericho match, I'm like, this wasn't exactly the best thing on Dynamite, yet apparently this is what drew the most. Goes to show you that Chris Jericho arguably is the biggest name that AEW still has.
Wait, Dynamite beat NXT only 1 week?
No, in the quarter hour, like in that little time frame.
Oh, this week.
Yeah, this week.
Oh, that so Jericho's quarter hour compared to NXT's quarter hour, Jericho was the only quarter hour that won versus NXT?
That's right.
Oh, what did NXT have at the same time? Do you know?
I think it was the Brawling Brutes against Gladys, I think.
Yeah, because who cares? Gladys.
Wow.
I don't think their name is Gladys either.
Possibly
Gallus.
not.
Isn't it Gallus?
Gallus, there you go.
Gladys.
I thought it was
Brawling Brutes versus Gladys.
They may have called them actually that. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe that's where I got it from.
But who is Like I don't know these guys. I'm not paying attention. Of course I'm going to watch Chris Jericho, which again just shows you stars from the Attitude Era. That's all people really want to see. John Cena, Undertaker, Chris Jericho, just old wrestlers. The old timers.
Well, names. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tony Khan continuing his Twitter fingers. This was a good one. Somebody saying the difference that Vince has the power and influence to take them cheap shots. He's earned the right to make them. Tony Khan is Vince if you order him from Temu. What's Temu? You can shop like a billionaire, but you get the cheapest tat doing so. And then Tony Khan says, yes, Vince has allegedly used his power and influence to shoot a lot of shots.
Oh, is that about the allegations against
Vince?
Like, who is this person that Tony's responding to? Like,
I don't know, but Tony seems to he responds to a lot of people. Here's another one, and this is maybe why Tony is going so hard. He says, this weekend marks 1 year since Mayo Clinic saved my mom's life. During her ordeal, many AEW talent came to me alleging WWE tampering, inducing them to break their contracts. I'll never forget these phone calls at her side in the hospital. It's when business became personal for me.
Well, I know what he's talking about there. I remember the situation he's talking about there. Yeah, he made mention of that with Regal, remember?
Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
I guess there's more. Well, just that Regal gave him this story and when this had happened too, and kind of made him feel all sad and all that, and it was at a down point, and it was kind of like almost taking advantage of the situation. It felt like Regal was doing. So, but maybe WWE was also, pushing him to be like, hey, get out of here now.
So this was about Regal, you think?
It's one of them because you said plural, right? Calls. So
yeah,
Regal's one of them. Someone else, I'm guessing as well.
Yeah. So Tony Khan, taking things personally, tweeting, going hard at people on Twitter, going hard at the WWE, taking shots, but I don't know. I don't have a problem with this. I kind of like it. I like it. It makes him seem like he's a real human being. I think, this is the new style of promoter. This is the kind of thing that Dana White does. He fires off on people. He goes bananas. Compared to Dana White, this is tame. This is nothing. Compared to the things that Dana has done, compared to the things that Vince has done and said to people, about people, to Bob Costas, attacking Bob Costas on TV. This is not that bad. People getting all up in arms about Tony Khan going on Twitter and saying some shit, but, compare him to Vince or Dana, and it's really quite tame. So, good for Tony. Showing a little, fire. Get fired up. It's your company. It's AEW. It's what you represent. Yeah, get fired up. Go harder, I would go harder if I were Tony Khan. What the hell, man? You got to go all out of these guys. You look at your attendance, it's garbage. Nobody's going to your shows. You got to fight. They took Jade Cargill from you. They took Cody Rhodes from you. They're taking your top talent, making them even bigger in their company. You got to fight. That's all you can do.
I won't disagree with you on the whole Mayo Clinic situation. He definitely should speak up about that without question. The ratings thing, though, he needs to look at more of the positives here. Like the fact that they were on a night that not usually on and still got that rating against competition, and against I think the baseball playoffs were on at the same time. Hockey just started. You still got that rating. That's great. He needs to look at more of that, But
yeah,
and we're gonna have competition again. It's gonna happen. Friday the 17th of November, SmackDown versus Collision. So he's gonna have to gear up for that. That's right before Full Gear. It's the night before Full Gear.
What is
that head-to-head with SmackDown Collision? Because Collision can't air on a Saturday, right? Because they have Full Gear on a Saturday. So they have to bump Collision to Friday.
Oh. And it'll be up against SmackDown?
Up against SmackDown, and will be the lead-in for Rampage. So it'll be 3 hours of AEW before you get Full Gear
the next night.
Next night, yeah.
Jeez.
Get ready for that.
Well, that'll be a fun Friday night, though. Collision versus SmackDown. They're going to beef up SmackDown on that night. That'll be good.
Do you think so? Like, it will be... Well, it will be the second to last SmackDown before Survivor Series.
You don't want to lose the ratings war. You got to win. You got to win big.
Yeah, but... Whoa, like... SmackDown, it's on Fox. Like,
yeah.
Are you worried about losing the ratings? Like, you shouldn't be.
Yeah. It's a different deal. Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting. I like them going head-to-head. I like to see the battle between the companies. It forces both companies to put on interesting wrestling shows. No one's talking about NXT unless AEW's on Tuesday nights. That's the bottom line. NXT doesn't matter this week unless AEW's on Tuesday nights. AEW only got pushed to Tuesday night because of the baseball playoffs, but it pushed NXT to do a better show. I don't know how many people will tune in next week because of what they saw this week, though. And I feel like if you watch both shows, you'd be more likely to tune into AEW next week because you're going to get more of what you saw. Whereas in NXT, whatever you saw, you're not going to get again. That was it. Check out WrestleMania if you want to see that stuff again, you know?
Well, I only speak on Dynamite. Yeah. Like, from what I saw from Dynamite, I'm like, I hope it's more like that. Because that was a very good show. I know it can't probably be like that every week, but try to have more of the same of that. Mm-hmm. That was pretty good. Again, maybe less of the Adam Cole, not a perfect show. I mean, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong segments are awful. I hate those.
Yeah.
And I feel, what was it? I think it was the women's match. Like I like Saraya, but there was a couple of those strikes in that match, like really bad. I feel it was more Shida. Like some of the shots in the corner and the 10 punches, like really, really bad. They got to work on punches, or at least covering up the punches, because look terrible.
The show was good, though, overall. Shida beating Saraya. Yeah. I didn't think that was a particularly amazing match. I don't understand Shida winning again. Why?
Well, I had thought, Toni Storm winning the title, like, Saraya was just to give her the moment at All In. That's it,
Yeah.
Like, we're going to take the title off right away. But for some reason, she has to be Toni Storm again for whatever reason. I don't understand that. And now Toni has to be timeless, so now it's a brand new thing. But it completely isn't. It's just you added a name. And this is what boggled my mind so much. Like, you built her up as a heel again, and then she comes out and gets a face reaction because she screwed over the heels. Like, what are you doing? None of this makes sense in terms of the booking.
The booking of Toni Storm has made no sense.
Well, the women's division, I think, is lacking in terms of sense. Again, I like Saraya. I think Toni Storm's really good. Shida's pretty good too, but the story, I don't get it.
They should have never broke up the Outcast group. What are they doing?
You can break it up, but it's like, don't flip-flop Toni with this, like, oh, she's a face, she's a heel thing. Like, she can be crazy, but stop with this whole, like, she's facing faces, she's facing heels. Like, just make it more consistent.
And that silent movie she was doing during the commercial breaks was awful. I don't know what the hell she was trying to do. It was miming. It wasn't a silent movie. Silent movie. Have you ever seen a silent movie? Has anybody in AEW ever seen a goddamn silent movie? That's not how they look. It's not one person in a room doing some miming, pretending to be in a car. They're actually in cars in the silent movies. They don't just mime shit. Have you ever seen a fucking silent movie in your life, AEW? What the hell was that shit with Toni Storm? It made no sense. Fucking silent movie. It's not a silent movie. It's one woman in a room goddamn miming. There's other actors in silent movies. There's sets and props. And, it's like a regular movie, except they didn't have audio. So sometimes they've got, titles in between the scenes to kind of tell you what they're saying. People have seen silent movies before, right? Maybe, I don't know. Obviously, nobody in AEW, but that Tony Storm silent movie thing, I was like, oh, what's Tony Storm doing? Is this just an excuse to see Tony Storm dancing around in her underwear? Like, what is this? What am I watching here? It was awful. And then I realized, I'm not actually watching it. It's during a commercial break, so why am I trying to watch this picture-in-picture nonsense? But that was bad.
See, that was they didn't air it on the replay because they don't air the picture-in-picture. So they go, we're cutting Tony Storm, and then it would just go right to the next match. And it's like, I didn't get to see it, so I had no idea what was happening.
Well, you missed nothing. It was not good. What was good, though, Bryan Danielson beating Swerve Strickland. Excellent match.
Yeah, it was great. That was a great match, yeah.
Excellent.
It was a good way to start the show.
Swerve is really good.
There.
Swerve is getting big matches, big opportunities. I saw some people upset that he didn't win this, but Bryan against Christian just makes more sense.
He got screwed over, in a sense. I just don't like that there was 2 matches with outside interference. He didn't need to do that, but besides that, it was okay. And I give AEW
but it played
credit
into each other, right?
They did.
2 matches kind of.
But they also don't complicate their outside interference. It's not the clown car of interference as long as Jeff Jarrett's not involved. Like, this was simple, It's just like one side, other side, boom, that was it. No other people come in the ring, whatever, crap. Just simple.
Yeah, you didn't need a whole lot of crazy stuff going on. Then you had Powerhouse Hobbs beating Chris Jericho.
Destroyed him.
Just squashed him.
Sent him to the hospital.
Interesting move.
I don't mind it because, it'll lead something. It helps build up Hobbs and gives Jericho something to do now. So, it's not a bad idea. And
made
obviously,
a statement.
It was the most watched part.
And it made a statement. It's like, Hobbs didn't just beat Jericho. He demolished Jericho. Can Jericho come back from this, Next, Jon Moxley wasn't medically cleared, so Orange Cassidy got the match instead and beats Rey Fenix to become the new AEW International Champion. Orange Cassidy takes the belt back. They advertised Moxley, but I guess Moxley's still not ready. Can't pass the concussion test. Right? Was that a shoot? Or do you think Orange was the plan the whole time?
Like, I read somewhere, I'm not sure who reported this or not, but apparently the idea was that Moxley was supposed to win the title back. We all thought he was going to win the title back anyways, right? And he was going to face Orange Cassidy at the pay-per-view, Full Gear. But now they've switched it around because he couldn't wrestle, so now they want it to be Orange versus Moxley at the pay-per-view, and just Orange would be the champion. And, well, I guess it's the same thing, whatever. It's fine. But I don't know about you. I felt in both championship matches, the finishes were just kind of, they just happened. There was no real big build-up to both title changes. It was just like, they both just happened kind of thing. And the women's one, that was like a repeat. She'd beat Tony Storm almost the exact same way.
As far as Orange, though, I don't mind him being the new champion. I think he had a good run with it last time. And him and Moxley at the pay-per-view with Orange as champion, wasn't that the last pay-per-view? Didn't we already see that?
That was All Out, actually. It was the main event of All Out, remember?
Right. So not the last pay-per-view, but the pay-per-view before that, which Orange lost.
Right.
Do you think he wins the next time in the rematch?
Yeah, he probably does, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Jon Moxley's comeback match to just lose to Orange Cassidy? I don't know.
I don't think it'll be his comeback match. November 17th, we got some time.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't understand Shida now 3-time women's champion. I don't know anything about her. Still. No character development, no nothing, no video packages, no promos. We don't know a thing about Shida. She likes a kendo stick. She's from Japan. That's about all I know about her. She's good in the ring, but there's zero character. There's no charisma really to speak of. There's nothing there with Shida. I don't dislike Shida. I just wish AEW would give me a reason to like her and care about her. Because in the ring, I think she's fine. I don't think she's the best wrestler I've ever seen. She's certainly not good enough of a wrestler to warrant her being 3-time champion, given her limited character and promo and gimmick abilities. I don't understand why they push Hikaru Shida so hard in AEW. I don't. I think she's average in the ring, and the rest of it, she doesn't have down at all. Not even close. Look at the characters that you have in AEW. Compare them to Shida. Britt Baker, Saraya, Toni Storm, Ruby Soho, Chris Statlander. We all know way more about these people than we do about Hikaru Shida, yet Hikaru Shida is more decorated than all of them, being a 3-time now women's champion. Yet, I don't know shit about her. I don't care about her. I don't want to watch her on TV. She's not appointment viewing. I don't give a shit about Hikaru Shida. I don't give a Shida.
That's a holy Shida, as the crowd chants.
That's fine, but like, there's nothing there, man. The crowd's trying to put something there, but there's nothing there. And then you start to wonder, what's she there for? Why?
Well, I feel, I don't know about you, like, it's just the way I look at this. Like, you mentioned all the potential people to be the AEW Women's Champion, and like I won't disagree with you. Like I was saying, like, I thought Toni Storm, right now is the most over women's wrestler they have in AEW. She should have been the next champion, but they didn't go in that route. And I feel it's because they want to focus more on the homegrown talent, because regardless, it's kind of ridiculous when you say that, because no one's really truly homegrown, but they have their little, since day one, AEW people, and that's a thing with them. And I feel like this is what they want to do. Like, we have to have non-WWE people or people who are in WWE as their champions. I know you're like nodding your head like it's ridiculous, but I feel it's true. Like, that they love to do this. They love to have their people that they had since day one as champions, and they feel like they need to do this.
But like, I'm all for that when it's Darby Allin or MJF or Orange Cassidy even,
Right.
Because there's some character there. There's a gimmick. There's promo ability. There's something. There's effort put into it by the company to make these people stars. It's not Shida's fault. It's AEW's fault. They have done zero to make her a star. You can't just trot somebody out with a goddamn kendo stick and a theme song and have her wrestle matches and expect people to care. Why do we care? I don't care about her at all. I don't know who... Like, I don't know who she is. I don't know who she is at all.
Right.
And AEW has done a shit job of introducing this character to us, and she's been around for years. Years. Most decorated champion in AEW history. Has anybody been a 3-time champion of anything in AEW?
I don't think so. I think this is
what
the most.
The fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah, but again, something that they can give to one of their homegrown talents.
Okay.
I'm sure they're very happy about that.
Well, maybe promote your homegrown talent. Let her talk in Japanese with some subtitles so you care and you know what she's saying. How about that? How about putting her in a personal program where you understand that she's actually mad at somebody and it lasts a little bit and you figure out, how she acts and how she reacts and what makes her tick. There's been none of that.
Yeah.
Ever
It'd
with
be nice.
Her. Ever.
I won't disagree with you. And they could do better. They should do better. But I'm not mad about her being champion. I don't think it's a bad thing. And if anything, they probably have an idea who they want to be the next champion, but it's probably going to be a huge heel. And maybe that's going to be Toni Storm, who knows, but which is really ridiculous because she just went heel face and heel again, but whatever. But like, I think this is what they want. They want a face champion, and they don't really have anyone else as a top face. Maybe it should have been Britt, but it seems Britt's gone because of Adam Cole.
When AEW gives me Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander, and then I compare it with WWE that gives me Rhea Ripley and Io Sky as their champions, it's like night and day.
Well, again, what do we really know about Io Sky here? What have they really told us here? Genius of the sky. She can fly around, okay. Besides that?
Well, she's got a complicated relationship with Bayley.
Okay.
You know? There's something there.
Sure.
She's got a deal with Asuka. You know? I mean, there's more to her already. She's been on TV for less time.
There's more, but not much more. But no, you're right. They could do more with Shida. They should do more with Shida. And now they have the opportunity to do it, so they should take advantage of that.
Well, they've had many opportunities to do it, and they never have. But, like, Io Sky came in a group, and, you know, she's got her relationship with Dakota, her relationship with Bayley, and it plays out on TV. There's something there. Hikaru doesn't have relationships with anybody. She has no friends, no enemies, really, to speak of. Who's her biggest enemy? Who's her best friend? None of them. Nobody, really.
Well, she's had like up and downs with Britt Baker, right? They were enemies, then they were partners, and they were enemies again. Kind of off and on with that.
Yeah, and they never did a promo to really explain why.
No, but they always do that with AEW.
Well,
and remember,
that's
she had
bad.
that thing.
That's bad for developing the character, is what I'm saying, right? It's just.
But I'm just saying, this is what happened. She'd had a thing with the Outcast. Remember, they wanted Sheeta in the group for a little bit, or she was kind of.
Yeah.
And then she wasn't.
These things get blown off so fast. Like, they start and then they end so quickly that you never get time to sink your teeth in and actually figure out what's going on. It's like, oh, did that happen? Yeah, well, it started on a Wednesday and it ended on a Saturday. Okay. Cool.
Or a Friday.
Yes. Or a Friday. It started on a Friday and it all, it's like, what? I don't understand. So what else do we have here? Jay White beats Hangman Page. Another really good match. Another really good match on Dynamite. Prince Nana distraction. White gets the win over Hangman.
Compared to the first match, though, I mean, it's not as good as the first match, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like, let's face it. They started with the best match right away, and everything else afterwards kind of just felt less. Not that they were all bad, but it's just like, it's hard to compare when you just had the best match already, you know?
Well, you can't outwork Bryan Danielson. If you put Bryan Danielson in there with a match that he's allowed to shine in, the rest of the card can't follow it. It's impossible. He's the best ever.
Well, I thought Edge did the best he could with what he had, though. Like, he made it interesting for his, like, debut in AEW. You know, Hangman, it was an okay match, but it just felt like a regular kind of Hangman match. And Jay White, too. It just felt like, the usual kind of match that they have. Which is not bad, but when you have, again, the best first match, and then you have Edge's debut, everything else just kind of felt like, just the regular stuff. You're right, it shouldn't have felt like regular stuff, but it did.
I liked Edge's match. I saw people didn't like it too much. I liked it.
Who didn't like, if anything, I'm just surprised he took a tombstone pile driver. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Triple neck fusion, and like you take a tombstone, like, ballsy.
He did a lot in this match. The spear off the stairs outside the ring was awesome.
Yeah, that was great. That was like one of his best spears, actually.
So cool. Such a cool move. Yeah. I'm like, oh, Edge is back, baby. Let's go. Like, that was like, oh, okay. This is Edge in AEW. I like this. It started off a little bit slow, but I thought the match really picked up. Edge hit another spear to get the win. Christian and some guys attacked afterwards, but the Blackpool Combat Club and Bryan Danielson made the save, and Bryan put Christian in the label lock to close the show, which gets you set up for Saturday night. Bryan challenging Christian for the TNT title. I thought that was a great way to end Dynamite.
Yep. Well, it sets you up for Collision, too. I saw the lineup. Like, really, that's the only thing you have to look forward to is that match. Like, it's not a stellar lineup, to be honest. I mean, Edge shows up. That's nice. The rest of the lineup is just like you could be watching Rampage pretty much. But at least you're going to get a quality main event.
Yeah. We're going to get Bryan versus Christian. Is there anything else? Do you know what else is on the show? Like,
they announced the Brian Cage match, which just seemed kind of like meh. I think Sky Blue against Statlander.
Okay.
Yep, I see your excitement. Shot through the roof right there.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Yeah. Well, whatever. Bryan Christian for the TNT title on Collision. I don't think Bryan's going to take the belt from Christian, though. I think there's going to be shenanigans.
Yeah, I expect a lot of shenanigans. Well, if anything, maybe even just a DQ finish. Like, you can get away with that in that kind of match, I think. Like, I think in the end, it's going to be Christian, Luchasaurus, Nick Wayne against, like, Edge, Darby Allin, Sting at Full Gear. I think that's the direction for this one. And then maybe do Edge Christian at Revolution next year.
Makes sense to me. How long do you think we wait before we see Christian and Edge back together? I think like a year, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say save it for All In.
Yeah.
Save it for Wembley, yeah.
You think we get another match against the Hardys?
I mean, maybe that is the match at Wembley. Who knows? It's not possible.
That'd be fun. I like seeing it. I like seeing Edge and Christian as the main guys of a wrestling show. Like, AEW Dynamite is doing really well in my eyes because all the talent is really good. You've got Bryan Danielson, Edge, Christian, MJF, Jay White. Like, all the guys they're using are excellent. They've got some really good, quality, respectable wrestlers on their TV show, and they're letting them wrestle. It's really good. Like, I like it, you know? I like AEW Dynamite. It is my favorite wrestling show, and I watch it every week, and I don't hate watching it. Sometimes I hate watching Raw, and sometimes I hate watching SmackDown. But usually I like Dynamite. I've got criticisms about Dynamite, but it's the show where I go, yeah, I'll sit down, I'll watch this. On a Wednesday night or Tuesday night or whatever, it's like, yeah, they're going to give me something I can look forward to. There's something I can enjoy, you know? Especially now that Edge and Christian are featured so much on the show. I really liked all the Christian stuff, and now that Edge is on the show too, it just beefs it up so much more, adds so much to what Christian has been doing. It's really good. It's really good. I like all that stuff a lot because I'm a big fan of Edge and Christian. So to see them featured so much, and then Bryan Danielson featured so much as well, like, yeah, that's my kind of wrestling show.
The Christian promo before Edge's match was fantastic. That was, I watched that twice because it was that good. I thought the Judgment Day dig that he did was very good. I liked how he talked about Edge's wife, Beth. You know, Daddy's going to come in, you're coming home, new daddy.
Yeah. Just
fantastic stuff. He is just, you know, MJF's the new babyface. Now Christian's the number one heel now in AEW. There's no question.
That promo from Christian was really good. Really good. I know your wife, Beth, is a big fan. Oh, yeah. Yeah, what did he say about the Judgment Day again?
He said, I don't need to dress up my guys like it's Halloween and tell them that they're tough.
Yeah.
which is hilarious because he's got Luchasaurus right next to him.
Because who?
He's got Luchasaurus right next to him, right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
That makes it even better.
That's true. And he goes, "I'm not their leader. I'm their father." I was like, "Oh God, so good." Oh man, I'm their father. Where was Nick Wayne? Oh no, he showed up after. He attacked Edge. Yeah. He was doing a sneak attack. Yeah. At first, when Christian was doing the promo, I was like, "Where's his other son?" But he showed up later. He was there for Daddy Christian, Daddy Cage. Yep. So Dynamite, I thought, delivered. I look forward to Danielson versus Christian tomorrow on Collision. Like anything Bryan Danielson, Christian, or Edge right now, I am fully invested in. So, good job. Good job, AEW.
So now we should talk about the MJF situation.
Oh, yes. We should talk about the MJF situation. So after Jay White beats Hangman, MJF comes out and demands Jay White give him his belt back. And then Jay White's like, well, you can win it back if you beat me for it at Full Gear. But I guess you're talking about Juice Robinson and the roll of quarters?
Oh, we can talk about the Jay White thing first, the promo, like that first. I thought it was just a standard. It was okay. I thought it was all right. Like, just the back and forth. But it felt very standard. Nothing really stood out until that happened. The whole Juice. I think that's what they realized, too. The promo didn't have anything that really stood out, and they wanted to go somewhere in a different direction. And they definitely went in a different direction, which I was not expecting. And, shocking. Very shocking.
Yeah. I didn't love it too much. Juice had a roll of quarters with MJF's name written on it, and, Juice has been hitting people with a roll of quarters, but he said he's going to hit MJF and then, make him pick up the quarters or whatever. And that was like a real story that MJF has told about people throwing quarters on the ground and telling them to pick it up because apparently this is a thing that people tell Jewish people to pick up loose change on the ground as a racist thing. No one's ever said that to me. If they did, they'd be picking up their teeth afterwards, I think. So good thing no one's ever said that shit to me because I would break them in half. Maybe not the week for anti-Semitism, guys. How about that? Juice? And not just that he had the roll of quarters and was, talking about that and, It's that it had the name Friedman on it, too. It didn't say MJF. It didn't say Max. It said Friedman, which is, the indicator of like, well, that's a Jewish name. Just that was like, oh, okay. You're writing a Jewish name on a roll of quarters and telling him he's going to have to pick it up, and this is going out on TV. Didn't sit right. Didn't sit right with me. Didn't sit right with a lot of people. This has been a very sensitive week for Jewish people, in case you didn't know. And this added to it a little bit. This didn't feel good. We're on the defensive a little bit these days. And I am very proud of MJF for standing up and being a proud Jewish man and proud Jewish athlete. And, I didn't like what Juice did. I didn't like what he did. I don't, hate Juice for it. I don't think Juice should be in trouble or anything, I don't love that Tony Khan allowed that on his TV show. I don't love that, Tony Khan. Well, I don't know what religion Tony Khan is, but I would guess he's not Jewish. So I don't know how sensitive he is to those issues. I don't know what,
You've probably seen MJF talk about this, right? Like, or you seen his tweets recently?
Yeah, well, he's been very vocal about standing up to anti-Jewish hate. Right?
Yeah, he had a video, I think, today that came out or something, yeah. So,
yeah.
I believe this is all, like, part of his story. So, like, it's supposed to lead to something, obviously. So I don't know if this is some sort of like therapy for him or something, or in the end, like obviously, I think he's gonna make Juice pay for what he did.
Oh yes.
So, like, I don't feel as bad about it because like it's his idea. It's from what it seems like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. And I think Juice will pay in the end, and that's pro wrestling.
Right.
I just wish it said MJF on the quarters, not Friedman.
Right.
I think you could have done it a little bit more tastefully, or not done it at all. I know MJF is going to make Juice pay, and he's going to do all that, but, I didn't love it. Especially this week. It's like maybe not the time.
Timing was terrible.
The timing of it was not great. It's been a difficult week. To add that to it was like, come on, guys. But again, very proud of MJF. Very proud. Like, that's really all I could say about him. I just think he's phenomenal example to Jewish people, Jewish youth, Jewish athletes everywhere. I'm really in awe of what he is and what he's doing and what he's accomplished so far. And he's a Sandy Koufax of pro wrestling. And I got a lot of love for him. A lot of love for him based on a lot of that stuff that he's doing. So, and that's like from a personal level. I like him. He's the mensch of the cinch.
Wow, you like a Mets fan. It's great.
Hey, I mean, he's a Jewish New Yorker. I got, come on. Close enough. New York Jews, man, pretty good. A lot of them. Have done a lot of good stuff in the world. And MJF is continuing. Is Tony Jewish? Tony Khan? I don't think so.
I don't think Tony Schiavone is either.
I don't think Tony Schiavone is Jewish. I don't know about Excalibur, quite frankly. I don't know. I think Alexa Bliss might be Jewish. I'm claiming Alexa Bliss.
We could say Goldberg, yes.
Goldberg is Jewish for sure. I think Lexi Kaufman, a.k.a. Alexa Bliss, is Jewish, but I'm not 100%. I don't know.
Oh, you should stop saying that name, actually.
Yeah, I know. I triggered something. But, like, not a lot of Jews in wrestling. Not a lot of Jews in sports. And MJF, like, and the ones that are out there, they don't, they're not loud and out there about it.
Right.
And you look at entertainment and stuff. I mean, over the years, a lot of Jews changed their names to be in entertainment, right? I don't know if you knew that, John, but that...
I didn't know that, but...
You didn't know that?
I didn't know they, like, who did that?
Like, tons of Jews. Like, Jon Stewart, Jason Alexander, like, a shit ton of Jews in entertainment changed their names so they would sound less Jewish, so they wouldn't alienate people who hate Jews, which is so fucking sad and painful. But that happens. That's been happening forever. You didn't know that?
I didn't know, like, Jon Stewart, Jason Alexander. Like, wow.
Yeah, Jon Stewart's real name is John Leibowitz. Change it to John Stewart Leibowitz. I mean, it's his middle name, but,
Still, no, yeah.
Jason Alexander's real name is J. Scott Greenspan. Like, people, Jewish people, or ever, have been changing their name to fit in entertainment. And MJF is proudly Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And I like that. I have a lot of respect for that. Because it doesn't happen very much. And it's not easy. And you become a target for a lot of shit that is hard to deal with, hard to stomach. But I want MJF to know that he's got a lot of support and a lot of people that have his back, and a lot of people appreciate what he's doing and how proud he is and how he's representing. So, good for MJF for a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons. But, you know, to be proudly Maxwell Jacob Friedman, world champion professional wrestler, that's something. That means something to me. And I know it means something to a lot of other Jewish people. Hulk Hoganberg. Yes, of course, Hogan's a Jew. Wait, I don't think so.
We don't want to go down that hole. Wherever Hogan said.
Angelo says Tony Khan is Pakistani American. Yes, I know. Yes, he is. I don't think he's Jewish. But that's fine. That's all good. You know who's Jewish? Paul Heyman. How about it?
He's back to his old look now.
What do you mean? Did he dye his hair again? Or are you talking? Does he have a ponytail?
Well, because Roman Reigns back, right? His hair is now back to its normal color.
Oh, was it? I didn't notice. Wow, the subtleties of Paul Heyman. He's so good.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I thought you meant the ponytail was back.
I don't know if he could grow the ponytail back, to be honest.
That was crazy when he cut the ponytail. Because, like, he was bald with a ponytail forever. Forever.
Yeah.
And then he cut the ponytail, and you're like, what? He just looks like a normal man now. But now you're kind of used to it. You're like, oh, yeah, that's what Paul Heyman looks like. But for years, like, with the ponytail, it was like the Heyman look. Bald head, ball cap, ponytail. Heyman, Paul Lee. And now he's like, you know, suit, bald head, just, you know. Looking
Hitchcock, like, yeah.
Yeah. What an opening segment to SmackDown tonight, though, right? How cool was that? John Cena comes out, welcomes us to the ring, welcomes us to SmackDown, da-da-da, and da-na-na-na, Tribal Chief comes out. Oh, shit. Here's Roman Reigns. He's back. And he's confronting John Cena. And he's got Heyman and Solo with him and, you know, whatever. And he tells the crowd, you know, acknowledge me, get out of here, Cena, or I'm going to make you leave. And then Cena's like, look, I'm here to acknowledge you. You've had a great title reign. It's an amazing accomplishment. And I haven't even earned a title shot, but I know somebody who does. And then, boom, L.A. Knight. Yeah, he comes out. Crowd goes bananas. You got all the big stars in the company, Cena, Roman. Here's L.A. Knight to confront Roman, standing face to face. Roman's like, who are you to be in my ring? What the hell is your deal? And L.A. Knight, I was like, hey, you haven't been here, but maybe the crowd could tell you, whose game is it? And they go, L.A. Knight, you know? Fucking right there with him, man. They love him. I love him. You love him. We all love him. Yeah.
He's good.
He's
it was
great.
A good segment. Good way to start.
It was such a fun start to SmackDown. And then Jimmy Uso tried to attack LA Knight from behind, but LA Knight is like, And he tosses him out of the ring. And Roman's like looking at Jimmy like, what are you doing that for? Roman's reactions to stuff tonight was really good. Roman reacting is great. And then Heyman is like, we got to get out of here. Please, Tribal Chief, I beg of you to leave. And Heyman listens to the wise man, and then he leaves. And then he tells Solo, you got to end him. And then Solo goes on the apron, and he's like, I want a match tonight. And then the main event was LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa. LA Knight beat Solo Sikoa after some shenanigans. Jimmy Uso got in the ring, and John Cena then appeared in the ring, hit the attitude adjustment on Jimmy, and then Solo hit the Samoan spike on Cena, which sent Cena out of the ring. And then he turns around, gets hit with LA Knight's finisher, 1, 2, 3. LA pins Solo. And then Roman hit a spear on LA Knight and stood over LA Knight as the show came to an end. Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of like you have to have the interference, everything in front of the referee of all these people coming in, but that's
But
what they do.
to be fair, John, the interferers didn't make contact with the guys in the match, right? It was the guys in the match making contact with the interferers. Like Jimmy Uso came in the
Yeah.
ring. Now, back in the old days, John, as soon as somebody else that wasn't supposed to be in the ring came in the ring, they call for the bell. They call it a no contest. These days, things are a little more, whatever. So Jimmy Uso comes in the ring, but he doesn't hit LA Knight. John Cena jumps in the ring, stops Jimmy Uso from doing anything, hits him with the attitude adjustment. There goes Jimmy Uso. Solo Sikoa then sticks his thumb in John Cena's neck. There goes John Cena. So the only contact between guys in the ring and guys outside the ring was Solo hitting his finish on John Cena, which you could say is allowed. So I know what you mean, but, they worked it in a way where it made sense. And it was also a way to have Solo lose without him losing too much face.
When it's a night that's already filled with screwy finishes, and then you see something like that, it just feels like there's no order or chaos to anything. Just everyone just does whatever they want. That's what it feels like. And it's just like, it just sucks. All their finishes suck. It happened the Bailey match, even the first match, like just dumb finishes.
Yeah. That's all they got. Bailey beat Zelina Vega after a distraction from Io Sky. Bailey and Io attacked Zelina after the match, and then Charlotte Flair came out, and everybody ran away.
Well,
and Charlotte is going to get a title match next week against Io Sky, according to the new GM, Brutus Magnus.
That's great for her, but like, why do a run-in in high heels?
Yeah, it looked ridiculous. It looked like she was running on ice. It didn't. Yeah, it was awkward. The run was bad. But hey, it's part of the look. And she looked like twice the height of Zelina Vega standing next to her. In the heels and already being taller than Zelina, she looked ginormous.
And I bet you it was more so she's like looks good against Jade because she had the face-to-face with Jade, so maybe that's why.
Yeah. Well, couldn't she change her shoes to do the backstage?
She should have, but maybe, I have that set and we do the tape right afterwards, whatever, so didn't have time to change, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I guess some people it takes like 20 minutes to change their shoes, so.
And then, Jade and Charlotte did a face-to-face backstage. Triple H wanted to introduce them, but Charlotte's like, oh, I know, Jade. And Jade's like, my pleasure. And Charlotte's like, yeah, it will be. I was like, what does that mean? It will be. It'll be your pleasure to wrestle me and lose? I don't get that. It didn't sound like a threat. My pleasure. Yeah, it will be. I was like, what? What does that mean? But it was cool to see them face-to-face. But Jade Cargill's getting that Veer Mahan treatment, right? It's like every week, it's like, she's coming, but she never comes.
Well, no, she just appears. She's done appearances. She showed up at the NXT as well, like just random things like that's all she's doing now. Fastlane.
Yeah,
just show up.
Just shows up.
To wrestle.
Shows her face.
That's it. That's her thing.
I guess it's the equivalent of like vignettes, and eventually she'll be brought in.
Well, the thing is too, like, what show is she going to be on? You don't know. She could be on any show.
Do you see Triple H talk about her? He's like, yeah, well, she might not be ready for everything. And like, he was kind of basically saying she's green and we need to work on her in the Performance Center before we can debut her. He didn't exactly say that, but he's kind of like, we want to make sure that she's ready. She hasn't been wrestling for that long. We want to make sure that she's ready to perform at the highest level here in WWE type of thing. And maybe, she needs a little bit more refining at the Performance Center. He said stuff about the Performance Center and training and da-da-da. And I was like, oh, but you can't outright say, hey, we signed somebody that isn't quite ready for prime time. But it seemed like he was saying, maybe we don't trust her in the ring on live TV against some of these people. or they want her better, or they want her more accustomed to the WWE style, or whatever. But they seem to say,
a big deal.
But he didn't want to outright shit on her training because he just heard Cody Rhodes talk about how proud he was of Jade training at the Nightmare Factory, a school that he owns. So Triple H had to tread carefully. He didn't want to outright say, she comes from the minor leagues and she was trained like shit, but he also wanted to say she's not quite up to WWE standards, and before we debut her, we got to make sure that she is. That's what he said, really.
And to be fair, Bryan Danielson also had a hand in her training. So if you're going to criticize her training, Bryan Danielson has to take some of the blame there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he, not her trainer, but yeah, he helped. But Triple H seemed to say like maybe she wasn't ready. But you can't really sign somebody for big money and then be like, actually, she's not ready. So we'll see.
Well, they did.
Apparently they did. Well, I don't know. I think Jade is ready. But we've seen some of her matches where it's like, I don't know. Doesn't quite work.
How many competitive matches did she really have?
Not many.
And she's only had 60 matches at this point? Close to 70 or something? And how many of them were competitive? 10? So
how many of them were passable, the competitive ones? Not
off the top
all
of my
of
head,
them.
I'd say 3 or 4.
Yeah. So if you want to bring her in as a big star, maybe a little bit of refining from the Shawn Michaels School of Wrestling, I guess. A couple other things on, I think SmackDown I wanted to mention here. Roman Reigns, Jade Cargill, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso get the win. Roman Reigns staring down Cody Rhodes.
Oh, that was a great moment.
Right? That was cool. That was a cool moment, and I think it's going to lead to something. But who is Roman's opponent at Crown Jewel? I thought it would be Cena, but now it seems like it might be LA Knight. Unless we get a tag, Roman and Solo versus Cena in LA. But we just had Cena in LA versus Solo and Jimmy. Unless Roman wants to, I'll show you how to do it type of thing. But I feel like Roman defending the belt at this point is where you should go for Crown Jewel. I'm just not sure who they give the match to. It felt like Cena, but tonight, seeing SmackDown, feels like LA Knight. But that's a rush, because he's not winning. I saw a question from Matthew Henley. Does LA Knight have a chance of dethroning Roman Reigns? Not if the match is at Crown Jewel. I don't think even if the match is at WrestleMania or whatever, I just don't see it. I don't see LA Knight being the guy to beat Roman, but I would like him to have a bit more of a run before hot-shotting him to Roman at Crown Jewel. Felt like Cena was the play there.
Yeah, I'd rather LA get the shot at the Rumble, to be honest.
Yeah.
At least that gives him a big story, and you build up the fact that he's finally going to get the shot. And probably give him a win at Survivor Series even. In a big, War Games match. That grants him that title shot at the Rumble. I think that's the way to go with him. And I think people would love that, actually. A long, drawn-out story with him chasing Roman. Instead of doing it right away and then just lose right away. Because he's beaten so many guys already. Does he need to beat LA this quickly? I don't think so.
But if LA Knight is going to get a Roman Reigns match, it may have to be here at Crown Jewel. Because there's talk of Roman Cody at the Rumble and then Roman Rock at WrestleMania. So if Cody's got the Rumble match and The Rock's got WrestleMania, either you do LA Knight at Crown Jewel or you don't do it at all, or you do it after WrestleMania. But
yeah,
I think they're kind of in a spot where, we want to do LA Knight Roman Reigns. We have Cody for Rumble. We have Rock for Mania. So let's do it at Crown Jewel. because it's the biggest show you're going to have from now until, like, what other big show are you going to do it at? This is the biggest show. Outside of the Rumble and WrestleMania, this is the biggest show you're going to get in the next 6 to 9 months.
Elimination Chamber, they're going to have a huge crowd for that, so.
Yeah. Maybe.
But I don't see them waiting that long to pull the trigger on a Roman LA. If we already started now,
yeah,
like the latest you could go is Rumble, I think, with this. So, yeah, it's probably going to happen at Crown Jewel. So, that's fine. It's a little too early, I think.
Yeah. I think it is too early. Matthew Henley thinks they're going to do a tag match at Crown Jewel. They might. They might do Roman Solo versus
I hope so.
LA and Cena. Because if it is LA versus Roman one-on-one, like, is Cena not at Crown Jewel?
No, Cena's going to be there. If they can have Cena for that show, they're going to have him. I mean, they shouldn't after his poor performance at Fastlane. Like, I don't think you should have him wrestle, but they like to have him wrestle and be like a dead whale out there just doing nothing. But
did you see Cena's press conference?
Just a thing that he said, like, once the strike's over, he's gone or something.
Yeah, but he also said, being in the ring with LA Knight, it was clear that if I want to perform at this level, like, I've got some work to do. Cena is aware.
No kidding.
No, but you gotta give it to him. He's 46 years old. He's been there. He's done that. He's put his body through a lot. He's been on the road for years and years. He carried the company. And, he's not in ring shape. He doesn't wrestle that often. And he said after the match, he's like, LA Knight carried me out there. It's clear I have some work to do if I want to perform at the top level. And he was basically saying, like, this is not the John Cena I want to present to the people. I need to do more and get better. So I appreciated that from John Cena. He recognizes, like, hey, I've lost a step and I don't want to be a second-rate version of John Cena.
Took him 5 years, but yeah, he's finally realizing that.
How dare you? So rude.
Well, he
lost
a step a long time ago. I mean, I just don't think people have opened their eyes up to it. But at least he's finally admitting it, that he's just not the same anymore. Like, yeah, he can come out and hype people up, even though I felt his hype tonight wasn't really much of anything, but he was there and people get excited for it. But that's about it at this point. Yeah, he's a star. That's it. He just goes off in his past glory, and that's all you have with him.
Look how cool this Crown Jewel poster is, though. I really like this poster.
That's the official poster?
Yeah.
Wow. So Logan Paul's going to be at the show. Wow.
According to the poster, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Logan Paul, John Cena, LA Knight, and Seth Rollins. Yeah.
Well, if Cena's in the middle, you think Cena's getting the title shot then? You would think.
You would think. But the posters don't always tell the whole story.
Like, if anything, Logan Paul versus LA Knight, like, I would do that match, actually. And then build up LA to face Roman.
That would be pretty sweet. Logan Paul versus LA Knight. Logan Paul's got a big fight tomorrow against Dylan Dennis that we will be covering here on the Ringside Report Network around 5 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday evening. So definitely come back and check that one out. Big boxing match for Logan Paul. A lot on the line in that one. A lot. I just want to address a comment from Portier Concierge. I don't think that Tony Khan, as a Muslim, is he a Muslim though? I don't know about that. Has any ill will towards the Jewish people. If he did, then MJF would not be world champion. Yeah, I don't think Tony Khan has any ill will towards the Jewish people. If he's a Muslim or if he isn't, I don't really know. But I hope no one thought that I was saying anything like that about Tony Khan. Because I think, he's obviously, I don't think Tony Khan is a anti-Jewish. I think it was just, maybe he's not as sensitive to some things where, alarm bells didn't ring in his head like it did for other people when Juice came out with the roll of quarters that said Friedman on it, I don't know if Tony Khan is as sensitive to those issues as some other people might be, where the reaction was a little bit stronger. Because I'm pretty sure he's not Jewish, but I don't know what his background is necessarily. But yeah, I don't think he's got any bad feelings towards Jewish people. I hope no one misconstrued my words there, because I think Tony Khan is. I think he's in the clear with this whole thing. It was just an AEW story. I don't know who greenlit that idea. I don't know if this was an MJF story. I don't know if this was a Juice Robinson idea. I don't know if this was somebody else. But it just didn't feel right, and people didn't love it. I feel like it wasn't a smart move, and I saw a solid comment. I think it was from Jason Pete. I see you, Jason. Shout out Jason Pete. Oh, it was Ryan Katz saying any wrestling company doing anti-Jewish storyline should be ashamed. Yeah, it's on the line, but, MJF, it's part of his story with the quarters and the story and the anti-Semitism that happened to him, and Juice and Jay White are trying to bully MJF, so you kind of get it. When a wrestler brings something on TV as part of their character, the other wrestlers are allowed to talk about it and to use it against them. That's wrestling law. It's just a fact. Bryan Danielson has talked about losing his father on TV in promos. If Christian tells Bryan, I understand you have a father, and I understand your father is dead, fair game. Fair game. It's part of the story. You put it out there. You're putting it out there as part of your story, but you're also putting it out there as part of your story for your opponents to use against you. So, I get what Juice was doing. I just feel like if you tweaked it a little bit, it wouldn't have felt as gross. That's all. I like Juice. I like MJF. I like Tony Khan. I mean, I don't know Tony Khan or MJF or Juice, really. I don't know them, but they seem fine. I like Tony Khan going wild on Twitter. I think that's fun. I disagree with some of the things that he does with his TV show, but so? You know what I mean?
It's subjective.
Yeah. It is what it is. That's why we have this show. He probably disagrees with some of the things we say and do on this show, but too bad, Tony Khan. You can't tell me what to do unless you pay me some money. I'll take your money. I need money. Tony, I need money, baby. Help me out. You got billions. Hire Big Dave. Big Dave's got all the ideas. I can do it. I could also put half your roster in a chokehold, baby. Let's go. They're small in AEW. I could do it. Half the roster? Come on.
Good luck. I think you'd be in trouble, to be honest.
With half the roster? I mean, some of the guys for sure would be a lot of problems, but some others I'd be all right.
Like Marina Shafir, definitely getting choked up.
I'm not attacking ladies.
Well, they'll attack you, though. Don't worry.
I'm going to attack you, Johnny. Well, they will attack me, but not in a violent way, if you know what I mean. All right. Can we end this show? Because I'm getting in trouble, and I'm done. You have a match you want to promote or anything?
Not yet, but stay tuned.
Great.
Future episodes.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll be back tomorrow evening, 5 p.m. with AJ to talk about the Logan Paul Dylan Dennis fight. We'll watch it with you. Even if you're not watching it, we'll watch it with you. Okay? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Shout out to everybody watching. Matthew Henley, Ryan Katz, Jimmy James, Angelo, Jason Pete, Portier Concierge. Who else is in my chat tonight on the tubes? Leor, my man Leor. Shout out Leor. He's a smart guy. He went to join.ringsidereport.net. Leor and Angelo Contagonis, very smart guys. We appreciate you guys. Alex Taris, Travis Sandal, and others. I saw some other people. I can't name you all. There's a lot of people. Chong Largon. So many people.
Wow.
Shout out Chong.
Across the universe.
All over the place. Okay, that's enough for me. That's it. I'm done. I'll be back at some point tomorrow. There'll be boxing. We'll watch 1 or 2 of the boxings, and that'll be it. Short show tomorrow. I'm warning you. We're going to be in and out.
Oh, it doesn't like carry over to the UFC?
What do you mean? You think I'm going to do a watch-along of the fucking shitty fight night that's on tomorrow? Fuck out of here, John. All right. As Christian said to Edge, go fuck yourself.
Great editing.
Yeah, that's how we're ending the show tonight. Go fuck yourself. All right. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. We love you, and we'll be back again every Friday night right here on the Ringside Report Network. Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at